In the middle of the ocean, some group of men brought out an ancient artifact from the sea, then they started hitting it, trying to get it to open. Surprisingly, when they finally opened a part of it, a woman emerged panting uncontrollably. Back in Croatia, Andy and her team called the Old Guards were surveilling Conrad's building from afar and figured he was moving guns. On spur of moment, Andy and Copley cornered one of the guards and knocked him out, then the rest of the crew came out also and helped in taking out the guards, doing so without getting noticed. One of them lost his finger during the scuffle, but he easily fixed it right back. As part of the plan, Nikki and Joe stole two of the most expensive cars in the building, so as to get the guards distracted and chase after them. Once they succeeded in drawing the guards away, Copley and Andy headed inside the building. Meanwhile, Nile remained on the sea, monitoring every single movement going on. Copley and Andy were almost ambushed, and even though Andy was no longer immortal, she annihilated all of them without breaking a sweat. Afterwards, Andy headed towards the back, then she ambushed the two remaining guards and killed them with renowned skills. Meanwhile, Joe and Nikki were still on the run, and they were enjoying every bit of it. All of a sudden, they turned their cars facing the bikers and drove towards their direction. Nile rammed her speedboat inside the building, joining the attack as she obliterated all the guards on site. The fight with the guards got intense, but the old guards seemed to have the upper hands, given the fact they were more skilled, and most of them were immortals. Nile successfully infiltrated Conrad's quarters, but he shot her before she could get closer. Seeing she's surrounded, Nile jumped out the balcony inside another room where she reunited with her comrades. She informed them of Conrad's location, so they went after him immediately. Nikki and Joe got cornered all round, prompting Nikki to ditch his car and hold onto Joe's car for survival. Joe's leg got scraped out in the process, but he easily repaired his leg on the spot, and even used it to take out one of the bikers. They finally thought they've gotten away, but in a split second of unawareness, they fatally rammed into another car with full force, after which their car plummeted into the water. On the other hand, Andy and the rest caught up to Conrad, then they shot him continuously till he finally fell off the top floor of the building. After confirming Conrad was completely dead, they headed out, while Nikki and Joe were fortunate to survive the accident due to their immortality. The crew gathered together, playing games and having fun after a successful mission. Copley received a call mid-conversation, so he excused himself to take the call. Nikki and Joe headed to bed few minutes later. After the call, Copley revealed Conrad wasn't the actual buyer, rather he's just like the other conduits they've taken down. He further showed them a CCTV photo, which happened to be all the lead they have Quynh the real buyer. Nile recognized the woman in the photo, but couldn't really place her hands on where they've met before. According to Nile, she has seen the woman in her dreams countless times. Nile told them the exact events that transpired in the dream, but they didn't feel like it meant anything or have any connection to the buyer. Copley left to see if he could get more information, but Nile was still visibly worried about the whole thing. The next morning, in France, Booker infiltrated a home, placing the woman in there at gunpoint. She didn't seem bothered at all, rather she proclaimed she's been waiting for this moment for a very long time. When he finally put down his weapon, she inquired where to find Andromache. The old guard crew got disbanded for the meantime so they can go on vacation. Copley went together with Andy, Nikki with Nile, while Joe was all by himself. Elsewhere, Gwyn captured Booker and tied him up, trying to get him to give up Andy's location. Seeing Booker isn't ready to talk anytime soon, she decided to change her tactics. Gwyn is obsessed with finding Andy because they were both imprisoned for thousands of years, but the moment Andy got free, she didn't come for her or bother to release her too. Joe had plans of secretly meeting with Booker, but Nikki and Nile double-crossed him, as they knew he was up to something, that's why they followed him. On the other hand, Andy took Copley to meet with an undisclosed person. Andy told Copley to wait outside for a bit while she checks inside first. Andy slowly made her way into the building, and before she even knocked, Tua opened the door for her as though he was expecting her. Tua was one of the people in Nile's dream, so Andy came to find out who the woman that killed him in the dream is. To relay more information, Tua brought Andy and Copley with him to his underground bunker. Copley found the library utterly magnificent, so Tua explained this is where all the histories about immortals are stored. Tua then told about Discord, the oldest immortal in existence. Copley disagreed because he felt Andy is the first immortal ever. To make them believe, Tua told them the story of how it all started. Human became jealous of the immortals' powers, so they started locking them in metal cages and throwing in the ocean. Tua and Discord witnessed this horrific act happen firsthand. Discord left the scene in disgust, whilst Gwyn was dragged to be dumped into the ocean. Tua told them that after that day, Discord spent the next 5 centuries amassing untold wealth and power, so she won't have to be scared of anyone again. In this moment of truth, Andy revealed she has lost her immortality and fears Discord already knows, so Tua chose to follow them confront her. They joined up with the rest of the crew in Italy the next day. They were all angry at Andy for not telling them there's another immortal, but they waved it off and brought up Booker's situation. Given how Booker's place was, they concluded it was Discord who abducted him. Few minutes later, Joe got a surprise call from Booker who requested they meet up instantly. Without wasting time, Joe and Nikki drove to go meet with Booker. Booker requested to see Andy first, so they took him to meet with her. The first thing Booker told her was that Gwyn is out, which got Andy immensely frightened. He even gave her a letter Gwyn wrote to her, and after she was done reading it, she confirmed Booker is actually saying the truth. Andy reminisced the moment when she promised Gwyn she'd be with her till the end, but has now broken that promise by not searching for her. Andy stormed out determined to meet with Gwyn. Nile tried to stop her from going, suggesting it might be a trap she'd be walking into, but Andy was relentless, so she joined her instead. Andy and Nile finally arrived at Rome, Italy. As Andy walked through the streets of Rome, she envisioned all the different times of life she's experienced. Eventually, she ultimately met with Gwyn, the lost sister she abandoned. It was a dramatic moment for them both, as they were having different rush of emotions, confused on which to act on. Andy immediately apologized for not coming back to rescue her, but the pain and anguish Gwyn felt while imprisoned underneath the water was just too much to let go. While they were still conversing, Nile hid in a corner and watched them closely from a distance. Andy beckoned on Gwyn to join her family, the Old Guard, but Gwyn refused to fight for mortals, refused to fight for the same people who drowned her in a coffin at the bottom of the seas. Andy wanted to tell her she has lost her immortality, but couldn't do it, so Gwyn walked away in annoyance. Nile wanted to go after her, but Andy signaled her to stay behind whilst she handles the situation. Nike disregarded the instruction given her and followed them, but she lost track of them not long after. She then sighted the woman she always sees in her dream and decided to follow her. Andy eventually caught up to Gwyn, but she wasn't visibly in the mood for talks. Gwyn started aggressively attacking Andy, while Andy on the other hand tried to calm her down, but it wasn't working. Seeing no other option, Andy engaged her as they deflected each other's attacks simultaneously. Nile screamed at them to stop fighting, informing them that Discord is here. Almost at the same time Discord passed by, so Nile hurriedly chased after her instantly. In this moment of truth, Andy got to discover that Gwyn is working for Discord, and it was Discord who released her. Gwyn engaged in a fight with Andy with the sole purpose of retrieving the necklace she gave her years ago, and immediately after she did, she cursed her and ran off in pain. Andy tried chasing after her, but it was already too late as she was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Nile kept on following Discord, and her pursuit led her to a church where she met Discord allegedly praying. Nile got closer to where Discord was standing so they could converse. Discord told Nile that everything the Old Guard is doing is wrong, and Andromache is only leading them in the wrong direction. Discord revealed the sole reason why they're hunted is due to Andy's obsession with human affairs. Discord further acknowledged Nile as the last immortal, whereas she's the first immortal, so she claimed it's their destiny to end immortal interference together. Discord left the church almost immediately, while Nile was star-struck, pondering on everything Discord told her. A few days got past, but Nile still hasn't gotten over what Discord told her. She kept on wondering what Discord meant when she told her she's the last immortal. The entire crew then promised to help her find out what it is that Discord knows that they don't. At night, Tua kept on researching in his lonesome, when all of a sudden, Booker joined him in the library. Tua told Booker about his unconfirmed theory about Nile. He feels the reason Andy lost her immortality was because it was Nile who stabbed her. Summing it all up, he thinks Discord plans to use Nile to kill all of them and end the immortal line forever, but according to a legend, the wounded immortal can bestow her gift to another before it's lost. Discord met with Gwyn where she was sitting in pain and consoled her. Gwyn told Discord the only thing she wants is for Andy and her comrades to suffer, so Discord gladly opted to help her annihilate them all. Elsewhere at a nuclear facility in India, a truck stationed itself outside, then it started moving in full force towards the gate, but the policeman shot it down before it could get through. Gwyn happened to be the one inside the truck, and just when they thought she's dead, she stood back up and started resetting her bones. She threatened to kill the police chief, which distracted the other officers, leading them to get killed by Discord's henchmen previously stationed outside. They further made their way into the facility, with Gwyn leading them. Booker saw Nile training, so he took up a sword and told her to show him what she's got. They practiced together for quite a while, and Tua also arrived to watch them fight. Out of the blue, Tua picked up a knife too and insists they let him join the fight. The fight started with full intensity with none of them holding back, but it clearly seemed like both of them ganged up against her. Mid-fight, Booker jumps in and takes a shot he could have avoided, and it was then it became clear that was his initial plan all along, as he wanted to test Tua's theory, and if it's true, pass on his immortality to Andy. Booker confirmed Tua's theory is actually true, but before they proceeded on the plan, Booker got Tua to promise him not to tell Andy about any of this, and he sluggish agreed. Not long after, Booker met with Andy in her room. He stayed in her room long enough to see if his immortality would pass on to her, but it didn't. Copley gathered the team together, then he informed them how Discord took over India's nuclear power plant facility. He showed them the footage he was able to obtain before all outside contact was cut off. Copley further showed them a part of the footage where Gwyn planted a lethal explosive in a nuclear plant. An explosive capable of incapacitating any one of them for an extended and vulnerable period of time. Nile tried to convince them it's a trap, and going after her would be exactly what she wants, but they figured they didn't exactly have a choice here, so they decided to go regardless of whether it's a trap or not. The whole crew left to start gearing up, leaving only Booker and Andy remaining in the room. Periodically, the old guards drove to the nuclear site on their bikes, then slowly proceeded inside the building on arrival. Copley remained inside the van as their tech guy. From the van, Copley directed them exactly where to go to, and initially, the mission was going smoothly without any hiccups. They finally got to the reactor, but was still surprised to not see Discord or her henchmen yet. They defused all the booby traps they encountered on their way. All of a sudden, soldiers started coming out of every nook and cranny of the facility, and before you know it, the old guards got surrounded by Discord and her goons. The henchmen put down their weapons and brought out knives instead. Instantaneously, a bloody battle broke out between the two parties. Everyone fought skillfully like their lives depended on it. Copley then instructed them to get to the control room immediately, but on their way, they stepped on a bomb. On getting to the control room, more henchmen were there to attack them, but Nikki and Joe jointly killed them all. Nikki, Tua and Joe got trapped inside the control room the moment they got in, so Copley told them to find a manual override, as that's the only way to deactivate the bomb, but then he figured someone was coming for him also. Copley stepped out of his car gun in hand, and even managed to kill one of the goons, but they imminently captured him. All of a sudden, a toxic nitrogen gas was set off inside the control room, and it incapacitated the three of them there. The henchmen then came out and wrapped up their bodies. Andy almost got captured by two goons who got her pinned, but Booker came to her rescue and killed them. It was at this moment, Booker noticed Andy's immortality has returned. They both unearthed Discord has been watching them since, and is controlling virtually everything in the facility. Booker finally revealed he gave his immortality to Andy, so she proceeded head-on to face the goons without fear, and after she was done, the wounds she sustained instantly healed itself. Booker felt fulfilled seeing this, so he locked the door and went after the henchmen. Booker got shot and stabbed countless times in the process of fighting, whilst Andy tried her possible best to open the door but to no avail. At the ending, Booker fell to his knees after sustaining so much injuries, then after a few minutes, he finally gave up the ghost. Andy was in a discombobulated state on seeing this, but she decided to carry on so his death won't be in vain. On the other hand, Nile successfully got to the reactor where the bomb was placed, and in there, she met with Gwyn, who was rather expecting to meet with Andy. They started fighting on short notice, and both of them got gravely injured in the process. Nile was surprised to see that Gwyn wasn't healing. While they were still trying to figure out what just happened, Discord came out from the shadows and stabbed Nile until she was incapacitated enough to be captured. Andy, who was locked, suddenly got free, so she ran towards the control room to help her comrades. As she got there, she couldn't find any of them, but then, she saw Gwyn holding a bomb timer seated in a corner. After a short conversation, Gwyn decided against activating the bomb. Andy discovered she was bleeding heavily, which meant she's lost her immortality, then she heard Discord taking off on a helicopter. Andy immediately chased after the copter, and was fortunate to grab onto one of it before it flew off. Andy tried her best to take over the helicopter, but the pilot shot her off before she could. Discord's helipad flew over Andy, giving Andy the opportunity to infiltrate it and push Discord out. It was a nasty face-off between the first and second immortal to walk this earth. Discord had the upper hand, as she landed more shots than Andy. As they fought, Andy unearthed that Discord has lost her immortality, which means all these things she's been doing since was just for the sole purpose of getting her immortality back, not eradicating immortality as she claimed. They continued fighting afterwards, but Discord was fortunate to come out the victor, after which she flew away in her helicopter. Right there and then, Andy swore to herself that she's going to single-handedly rescue her mates. She went back to Tua's library in bid to find out undisclosed details of immortals. In the same library, she nursed Gwyn back to life and took care of her injuries. Andy couldn't still seem to find anything of use to her in the library, but in the process of searching, she found a drawing of the old guards and it gave her hope. On spur of moment, Andy and Gwyn geared up, getting ready for the final battle ahead, and that was how the movie ended. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment. Thank you.